Why Khalsa Why Gursant Singh? Why did you choose Sikhism over Christianity?
Why Khalsa Why Fateh? That's a really good question. I grew up in a Christian family, and about 35 years ago, I decided that I had seen so much hypocrisy in the Christian church and among people that I was associating with, their families and friends, that I decided to look elsewhere in other religious practices. And what impressed me about the Sikhs was their belief in one God, which was very similar to Christianity in many ways, but it didn't have the fact that Jesus was pronounced like a God. And in Sikhism, there is only one God. There is no elevation of any person to this God figure. So in Sikhism, again, we believe in one God, and we have a Sikh code of conduct, which really impressed me as being very effective in creating an environment of morals and principles. Now, the other thing that is very important, and I think is very relevant to today's issues, is that Christianity, and I say this in all due respect, Jesus basically disarmed Christians. And it is very unclear, at the least, about the use of weapons in Christianity. The disciple, or apostle, I guess the Christians call him, Peter, was told by Jesus to put away his sword when he cut off the ear of a soldier, and Peter was trying to stop the soldiers from arresting Jesus, and Jesus told him to put his sword away. He also told people to turn the other cheek when somebody hits you. Well, in Sikhism, we don't have any restrictions on defending ourselves, and I think this was a very important ideal and thing that really impressed me as being a way that we can stand up for ourselves and defend those also that can't defend themselves.
Okay. Why do you wear a turban, beard, and a dagger? What do they represent?
Well, in Sikhi, we are always taught to be like great lions or kings. And you'll never see a lion cut their hair. And with Sikhs, we cannot cut our hair either. So we wear the turban as a crown and to cover the head in respect for God. We keep our hair unshorn, and this is a symbol that we do not change anything that God gave us. And it creates a real aura or presence around Sikhs. You'll notice that there's a great presence of dignity, of a regal personality around Sikhs. And this is because we're proud of who we are. We wear our hair uncut. We wear these turbans, we call them dastars in the Sikh religion. And I would like to point out too that the idea of cutting hair was only started by the Romans in order to put their soldiers into some kind of conformity or discipline. And it was to put people down, basically, by cutting the hair. Now, with the Sikh faith, we want to exalt that dignity of people. And so to keep the hair uncut is a sign of power and strength, and that of courage also. Now that also goes along with one of the other tenets of our faith, which you mentioned, which is the Sikh kirpan or dagger, this one like I'm wearing here. And Sikhs are required to wear that at all times. And again, this is a sign of our courage and our commitment and our duty to defend those that cannot defend themselves.
Why do you think it is necessary for a Sikh to carry a gun? Why an assault rifle? Why not just a handgun?
Well, again, I'm glad you brought that up. This is a really important issue for this time right now. And as you can see here, I have a semi-automatic rifle. It's technically not an assault rifle, but it shows you, because assault rifles are currently illegal in California, and that's one of the things I'm fighting to get changed, where Sikhs and other law-abiding citizens can actually have assault weapons. But this will give you an example. I was a marksman since I was 11 years old and actually tried out for the Olympics many times. I've taken many classes in self-defense and also in marksmanship training. And it's essential that, I believe, that Sikhs and law-abiding citizens should be able to have modern weapons that they can defend themselves and defend those that can't defend themselves. I want to give you an example of how an assault rifle would have helped victims at the shooting there in Wisconsin. That gunman, this Wade Michael Page, had a semi-automatic pistol that held 19 rounds. He was also wearing a bulletproof vest. Now, if a Sikh or some person on that scene had a loaded assault rifle, either in the Gurdwara, in that Sikh temple, ready to go and been trained in that, they could have shot him in the head and stopped him right there. Now, also, if a Sikh had an assault weapon in their car, their vehicle, they could have easily gotten to that quickly. Now, I know that the police arrived pretty quickly, but seconds count. Every second counts when you're in a situation where you have an attacker that is shooting people. And we don't want to be reliant on the government or reliant on police to come to our aid. It's helpful, yes, but we as Americans should have the freedom to have these weapons in order to defend ourselves from attack and from those that would shoot at us, basically. So that's why I feel an assault weapon is necessary. You need to be able to shoot that person in the head if they're wearing a bulletproof vest. And with this weapon here, you could easily shoot the person in the head. Now, the other part of what I'm saying is that you should be able to have a 20 to 30 round magazine in order to have enough shots to be able to hit that person who's attacking you. And so that's why we don't want to limit the number of rounds as Congress and the state of California is trying to do.
Okay. How do you feel about a current gun control debate, Mayor Bloomberg's ad campaign plans, celebrity anti-gun activism, etc.?
Well, again, this is a very pertinent question. I'm glad you asked that question. I've been watching the news for many days right now, and this Bloomberg and President Obama are really on the wrong track here by trying to take guns away from people. Now, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, and I do not think that there's a conspiracy among these people like Bloomberg and Obama. But I do feel that they're definitely on the wrong track, and they're trying to take guns away from Americans. We should be actually training people with weapons. I grew up with weapons from the time I was 11 years old. I remember my father putting guns on the bed and instructing my brother and I. He would always say, treat that weapon as it is loaded. And he taught us respect for firearms. He taught us how to shoot with firearms. And firearms are not something to be feared like Bloomberg and Obama are trying to portray. Yes, we do need to take the weapons out of the hands of crazy people like that person who shot the kids at the elementary school. But we need to train people in how to effectively use firearms. That training has all gone by the wayside. It's become so un-PC now to have weapons and firearms that it's fast becoming a rarity where juniors and young people are being trained in these weapons. But I think it's really essential. If we are to maintain our freedom in this country, we need to be able to be trained in weapons. I lived in the UK for a while, and I can tell you that there they are like subjects to the Queen, and not like Americans where we have these freedoms. We don't want to be in a position in America where we lose the right to have firearms and we lose the right of these freedoms to be able to protect ourselves. We don't want Big Brother government to be taking over these rights that we have and trying to tell us to fear these attackers and let the government take care of it. We as Americans have always throughout history taken up arms and fought against those that would attack us. Look at all of the world wars that we've fought. All of the places where we fought battles against those who would attack us. We didn't lay down our arms. We picked up arms and we followed through with attacking. Now, as Americans, we're compassionate. We understand that when the battle's over, that's it. We don't attack out of anger. And that's the way Sikhs are too. We are compassionate. And I just want to tell a quick story about our 10th Guru, how the 10th Guru fought in many battles, and that was a Sikh Guru. And he would use gold-tipped arrows in order to fight those oppressors, those Mughals that attacked India. And he would shoot the enemy with these gold-tipped arrows so that the attackers' families and friends, when they'd find the bodies, would actually have this gold in order to help support them. So we are compassionate. We don't react out of anger or fear, but it's necessary for all Americans, I feel, to train with weapons in order to defend ourselves, defend our families, and defend against any other attackers, domestic or outside of the United States. We need to be able to have those rights and not let the government take them away.
Why does India have such an allure? Do you have an alternative suggestion for self-reflection, locations, pilgrimages, etc.? What should US citizens who travel there learn about safety?
Well, India is a wonderful place on one hand, but it's a real paradox. There are many wonderful things in India. It's a very spiritual place. Everyone you talk to there will say they have a religion, okay? But unlike the West. And so India can be a wonderful place for spiritual sojourns or for spiritual trip, but I definitely would like to encourage people to learn about how to be safe there. Now, from my experience, I wrote about in my book that has just been published. It's called Confessions of an American Sikh. And that book tells about some of the problems that I ran into and some of the corruption that I ran into with the Punjab police there. And I would like to have everyone who goes to India read that book so that you can understand what not to run into. Now, I would recommend and I guess I'm a little partial, but the Sikh Gurdwaras, or temples there in India, are a very good place for people that want to experience some of the spiritual sites of India. And they're clean. The Sikhs are very friendly there. In particular, the Sikhs' biggest Gurdwara or temple is in Amritsar, and it's called the Darbar Sahib or Harimandir Sahib, or it's commonly known as the Golden Temple. And it's open all the time, and it's, like I said, it's a very clean place. They have place for people to go and stay overnight. And I would encourage any people who would like to visit that to find out about spiritual places to go to the Golden Temple there.
Do you think the US State Department could do a better job of helping US citizens in India who got arrested by the Indian police?
Yes, I do. And I was very disappointed again from my experience when I was visiting there. I was arrested on false charges, and it describes it in my book, Confessions of an American Sikh. And I think that we need to carefully look at what the State Department does for people, American citizens that are abroad. It was a real eye-opener for me when I realized just how little the U.S. government does